family sort of programs. Testimony not to give some truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Mr. Lynch, thank you for being here. Can you state your full name for the court's record?
Douglas Lynch.
Okay, and Mr. Lynch, are you from Chattanooga?
For the last 4 years, yes.
Okay, do you have family?
Yes, we do.
Did you live in Chattanooga in November of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the jury where you lived in November of 2022?
Yes, ma'am. We lived at 110 Tremont in apartment 100.
Okay, so 110 Tremont is an apartment building.
Yes, ma'am.
And is you said apartment 100?
Yes, ma'am.
Would that have been on the first floor of the building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the jury's already seen the apartment building from Google Maps. Could you describe, if you're on Tremont Street looking at the building, could you describe where your apartment was?
Yeah, so when you come on the street, Tremont Street, we're kind of right on the corner. It's almost underground a little bit. It's right next to the place where you would park on the other side, where it says, do not park 417 Frazier.
Okay, and is there a door to the outside close? Was there a door to the outside close to your apartment door?
Yes, ma'am.
Where, can you describe that to the jury?
Yeah, so depending on where you come in from the apartment, so if you came in the front door, you would, where the steps go down, you would go straight, and then to the right, and then you find our apartment. And then there's a door that goes out to the side where everyone will park. And so if you exit out of our apartment, it's immediately to the right.
The door to the outside parking lot.
The parking lot.
Okay, and on your apartment door in November of 2022, did you have a ring camera or any type of camera that would capture what was happening outside of your door?
Yes, ma'am. We had a ring camera.
Okay, and how long had you had that ring camera on November 2022?
That is a good question. We got it for another circumstance, but probably 6 months to a year. I can't remember exactly when I bought it.
Okay, and what was your first knowledge of the Jason Chen and victim Jasmine Pace case?
It was when Miss Katrina Bean came to our ring camera and asked to talk to us. And then I spoke with her over the ring camera. I believe it was the 27th, it was a Sunday. And then we came straight home and talked to them.
Okay, do you know who she was looking for?
Yes, she said that she couldn't find her daughter. And needed to talk to us about our ring camera footage.
Oh, okay. And did you speak with her about the ring camera footage?
Yeah, we started talking about the ring camera. I hadn't been able to look through the footage yet, so I started going through everything that I could find.
Okay. And did she ask you if you knew Jason Chen?
That's a good question. I'm sure she probably asked me that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't remember?
I can't remember yet.
Were you able to show her video footage from November of 2022?
Yes, ma'am.
And at some point later, did the Chattanooga Police Department also inquire with you about your ring camera footage?
Yes, ma'am, they did. I spoke with Mr. Crawford and gave him the video where I could find Mr. Chen.
Okay. And did you know when you were living in your apartment who Jason Chen was?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
And how was that?
We had interacted a couple times. So in the hallway, when he first actually moved into the apartment complex, he came through the back area where the dumpsters are. It's kind of like a loading dock area. And I was at the mailboxes, and he was wondering where the mailboxes were, so I showed him the mailboxes when he first moved in. And then there were just other scenarios. I would say maybe once a month we would kind of interact in the hallway in passing. And we actually saw him, me, my wife, and my kids were doing a stroller ride because our baby boy had just been born about 2 weeks earlier. And we had gone for a walk on the bridge, and we came home on the 22nd, and he was loading up his car. exchanged conversation and went inside.
Okay, so you had seen him and spoke with him on multiple occasions.
Yes, ma'am.
Did he ever park his vehicle in the parking lot to the, if you're facing the building to the right, that the parking lot that door would have led out to?
Yes, ma'am. That's where his car was when we saw him on the 22nd.
Did he often park out there?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you know what kind of vehicle he had?
Yes, it was the dark gray Toyota. The Camry.
Okay. Do you recall how many videos you turned over to the Chattanooga Police Department?
I believe there were around 6,
Okay.
and then there were others that Mr. Weiss asked for.
Okay, Mr. Weiss came to see you?
No, he actually sent a personal investigator to our home that was super aggressive and gave me a subpoena, and he got the videos he wanted.
Okay. But you turned 6 over to the Chattanooga Police Department that they had identified and needed for their investigation.
That's correct.
Have you, I'm gonna let you look at that jump drive. Have you seen that jump drive?
Yes, ma'am.
Does it say Lynch on one side?
Yes, ma'am.
And are those your initials on the other? What is on this jump drive?
The 6 videos.
Are these an accurate representation of the videos from your Ring camera as they looked in November of 2022?
Yes, ma'am, they are.
Your Honor, I'd ask that this be stated and considered.
133.
There are 6 videos, Judge. I don't know how you want me to identify those.
It's all one, it all is the same exhibit.
Okay. All right, Mr. Lynch, you'll be looking at the videos on the screen behind you, okay? So before we play this video, can you tell the jury sort of where we're at right here from the camera's viewpoint?
Yes, ma'am. So this is where on the left is our little reef, and we're looking out in front of our apartment door. And then to the right is where you can exit into the parking lot.
And are all of the dates and times that we're going to see on these videos accurate?
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Did you recognize that person, Mr. Lynch?
Yes, ma'am. That was Jason Chen.
Okay, then again on same day, 11/11. Do you recognize that person?
Yes, ma'am.
Who's
That
it?
was Jason Chen.
Do you recognize that person, Mr. Lynch?
Yes, ma'am. That was Jason Chen.
Okay, now we've moved to the next day. Do you recognize that person?
Yes, ma'am. That was Mr. Chen.
And did you recognize a black backpack that he was carrying?
Yes.
Had you ever seen him with a black backpack before?
From what I can remember, I can't remember if he wore the backpack often. I can only remember it from this video.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, now we're at 11/23/2022. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
And the time would be correct. So I hate military time, but is that 8:26?
That is 8/26.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. In this video, even though his face is covered and he's got a hat on and a hood up, are you able to recognize that person?
Yes, ma'am. The first thing was the hat for me.
You had seen that hat before?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And then this is 11/24/2022. Who do you recognize that person to be?
That's Mr. Chen.
Okay, I'm going to go back to 11/23. I want to ask you one more question. Does it appear that one of Mr. Chen's hands is covered in that video?
Yes, it does.
Nothing further from this witness, Judge.
Good afternoon, Mr. Lynch. First off, let me say, if one of my staff was aggressive with you, I apologize. Do you understand that?
Thank you.
Prior to coming to today's trial, did you meet with the prosecutor?
Who's the prosecutor?
With
Yes.
any- with-
Yes. Sorry.
It's
This
okay.
is new to me.
Same. How many times did you meet with them?
Once.
Okay. And did you review what your testimony would be here today?
Yes.
Did they have to remind you of my name?
No.
I want to ask you about where you were living at the time. The apartments, do you know who built those apartments?
I'm guessing Mr. Wise.
No relation?
I see.
Okay.
I like you.
Were those well-made apartments?
They were decent.
Okay. Were they big?
Cost effective.
Cost effective? Were they large or small?
The one we had was a good size for us.
Do you know how many square feet yours was?
About 1,000.
Okay. And then there were other apartments that were smaller?
Yes.
Do you know what the size of Jason's apartment would have been?
Somewhere in the 500 to 600s.
Are the walls thin?
Yes.
Okay.
And you can hear everything, especially on our floor with concrete.
So you're on the bottom floor. And because you're on the end, that means you only have one person next to you?
There was no one next to us.
Okay. So you never heard sounds coming from that apartment?
No.
Okay. But there was people above you,
Yes, sir.
and you could hear them?
Sometimes.
You said you saw Jason on the 22nd?
Yes.
What time did you see Jason on the 22nd?
It was probably 5 or 6 p.m.
You provided a bunch of your Ring cameras to the state,
Yes.
and you also gave them to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you provided all the Ring camera videos that you had?
Yes.
On the night of November 22nd, or in the early mornings of November 23rd, did you hear anything coming from Jason's apartment?
No. Our son was 2 weeks old, and we had 3 sound machines throughout the apartment.
Those don't go away either.
Yeah.
You said you had interactions with Jason.
Yes.
Were you two friends?
I wouldn't say friends. I would say we met in the hallway in passing.
Neighbors?
He lived on the second floor, I lived on the first.
But you never had any issues with
No.
him?
Mr. Lynch, you said that when you saw him on 11/22/2022, he was packing stuff in his car. Can you describe that in any more detail?
It's very fuzzy. I can't really remember what he was doing. I just know he was putting things into his car. The reason I remember it is he, as I was coming down the street, he said, "Hey, looking fresh," and that's what made me think or remember the situation. But that's it.
Nothing further, Judge.
Just so I understand, that was paying you a compliment?
Yes.
No further questions. Thank you.
No, Your Honor.
Do you have any questions for Mr. Lynch? Mr. Lynch, you may step down. Thank you.